Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Yuzul, the game is War Thunder, and welcome to a quick bout of Lunchtime Tankery. We're back into Tier 2. I want to give the Sturm-haubitze 42 Aus G a quick run. This is a variation on the Stug. Quick bit of history for you. Of course, the Stug line starts off with the 3A. This was intended as an infantry support gun for dealing with machine gun nests, pillboxes, light fortifications, all that jazz. Stuff that an infantry section couldn't necessarily handle on their own, and, frankly, it had more than a few design flaws, not the least of which was this gaping armour hole right at the back of a shot trap. I dread to think how many Stugs have been wrecked in game by that. Germans realised, to their credit, fairly quickly that this was a problem, and the Stug III F came along shortly thereafter. This was an late 1940s, early 1941 design. Sight's been moved up to a periscope. The armour hole has been fixed. It's actually got some sloped armour on the front. Granted, it's only about 30mm, but hey, sloped armour. They were starting to learn very, very slowly. And the general purpose, and frankly just a little bit crap, is the only polite word for it. 75L24 has been replaced with the 75L43 StuK 40 cannon. Much higher muzzle velocity, much higher armour penetration. War dragged on, tanks got heavier, they met the T-34 and the KV, and the Stug III G came along, tweaked the armour layout again, and upgraded the gun to an even better anti-tank gun, the L48 75mm. Problem is, anti-tank performance and high explosive performance tend to be mutually competing quantities. If you have a good anti-tank gun, what you have is high muzzle velocity, heavy breach, big propellant charge behind the shell, but that means you also need to reinforce the shell. It needs to have a thicker wall, or it'll burst under the pressures generated during firing. So what happened was, of course, that the high explosive performance didn't really improve. If anything, it actually got a little bit worse compared to the old 75L24. So the Germans brought in the Sturm-haubitze. This is the same basic chassis as the Stug III G, but instead of the 75L48, it has a 105mm howitzer. Muzzle velocity is absolute garbage, 495 meters a second. Armour penetration, as you can see, 64mm on a 105mm gun. That is junk, but it threw an excellent high explosive shell. If we take a quick look at the numbers, the stock high X for this thing penetrates 28mm. Okay, that's not KV2 grade dirt, but it's still pretty decent, considering that it's only 2/3 of the caliber, and therefore, in the best possible circumstances, well, let's see, 2/3 caliber, 4/3 cross-sectional area, 16/81ths, 81st? Yeah, who cares? Of volume. That gives you an idea of just how much of a difference that extra 50mm caliber makes. And of course it also fires just about twice as fast. But it's a weird vehicle to have in War Thunder because, of course, War Thunder's all about the tanks. And, as I said, this thing boasted great high X performance, but even with heat rounds, its anti-tank performance is, lackluster, courtesy of that awful sub 500 meter per second velocity. So let's get into a battle, see what happens. Berlin, ladies and gentlemen, we will load 9 rounds high X, 14 rounds of heat. You'll see I've got an odd number of rounds there. Of course, standard safety measures, half ammunition load, or potentially even less. Mind you, 23 out of 36, that's more like a 2/3 loadout. So I may still have some shells in the rear left of the tank, which ironically is probably a safer place than the loader's ready storage right at the front right of the tank. And of course, this is a Stug, so it has the traditional one shot and you're likely dead crew layout on the left hand side. Everyone knows where to hit a Stug. You aim for the driver's port and just stuff a high velocity round through there. High X, well, if it's a KV2, it actually might still bounce. KV2 does, of course, 75mm penetration with its high X shell, and, well, Stug, or other Sturm-haubitze, has 80mm on the front at this point. So what have we got? A T-34, He's going around the back of the Reichstag. We'll actually clear the high X load and load heat instead, because 28 mils high X against the T-34 is not going to work very well. The good news about heat, of course, is that as well as the penetration, 100 millimeters plus, it's also not very sensitive to angle. I am basically not going to deflect with this bad boy in the breach as I might with a Panzergranate. So I am going to expose my flank and immediately run into one of the big problems of casemated tank destroyers. I don't have a turret, do I? So I can't aim the gun, can I? There is this one little point. Nope, I've no shot. Gonna have to fix the track, back up, and then get moving again. Hope we can follow Ajax around. Back it up just temporarily. Actually, can we bulldoze? Because we need to get out of this artillery now. And if I can get onto that M4's flank... Come on, clear the fire zone, clear the fire zone. Bounce another 75 and duck in out of sight. Right, this is problematic. I'm going to have to wait for the M4 to fire. Or maybe not. No, he's burning. Right, so I'm going to have to take a risk here. I'm going to have to stick my head out. Wait for him to take a shot. Like so. Then get around this corner. Lay on. Fire! Hit his radio op. Maybe hit his driver. His derp is probably going to get loaded before mine does. There's his shot. Lay on. Come on. Target his gunner. Fire! What? No effect. What am I backed up? Oh, right. Wrecked Tiger. Fine. Let's maneuver up again. Bounce another of his high-X shells. Fire into the mantlet. Knocks his loader. Knocked his horizontal drive. Fine. He is in trouble. At this point, I can just... Actually, you know what? Let's take his driver next shot. Where's the reload? Fire! Got him. Right. Advance up. You saw the difference there. Favi-19, I think, bounced. He would have been firing Panzergranate 39 APHE. I was firing heat. No bounce even against the deflected armour. Right, come on, matey. M4 shown, of course. He's using the quick firing 75, and that was a mistake. Of course, 75 uses a cartridge loader, much faster reload than the 105mm howitzer on the regular showman, and he managed to get my left side crew. In fairness, that was a dumb mistake on my part. But it distracted him enough that someone else was able to brew him up. The good old Ronson. First time, every time. So, dump some artillery barrages onto B just to distract whatever's there. Into the Panzer IV F2. Decent anti-tank gun. And let's get to... Oh dear, right, so they're actually round the back of the Reichstag. Fine. Lay on. Fire! Critical hit. Turn fire, damn it, out my way. Okay. Fire control is just coming back. That T-34, yes, the 76 gun might be junk by late war standards, but it's quite capable of messing up an early war tank like the F2. Still only got 50mm on the front. And that really isn't enough, even by 1941 standards. So, advance again. Take a few pot shots. Come on. Come on. Nope. Oh! Did hit him, actually. But someone else bagged the kill. Actually, no. He crashed. I didn't get credit at all. Right. Do I have a shot on that M4? No. Still nothing. Right. We need... We don't really need B at this point, but it would be good to have it just in case. Yep, there we go. They're around the back of the Kroll Opera House. That's going to be troublesome. Someone else has brewed the 105M4 there. So let's advance. Again, flank speed. Past what's left of that 88. Now, they've got another M4A1 there. If he is front onto me, then the Panzergranate might struggle. He is front on, but he's not paying attention. Okay, fire! Hit, penetration. His gunner's out. Right, so... reload. Fire! Crew KO. Panzergrenade didn't bounce, thankfully. A Sherman's hull plate on the front is just steep enough that it can bounce if you're unlucky. Critical angle on a Panzer IV F2 is something like 70... no, sorry, 42, 43 degrees angle of attack. And you start risking ricochets. They've got a lot of heavies on the Opera House, so I'm not even going to try engaging that little bunch. We'll just head past these tank traps, or actually just go through them, because they're the light ones, over this ridgeline and into point B, start the cap. Then get hull down, wait, and while we're at it, you know what, we'll just brass up the... whoa, out of artillery. Hard round, hard round, hard round, hard round, hard round. Stabilise. Well, thank God I was paying more attention to my mini-map than he was. Yeah, always watch for blips, boys and girls. Always watch for blips. Now let's brass up that tank destroyer. It's a Stug III F, so it won't accomplish very much, but it might make him have second thoughts. That M10, on the other hand, is vulnerable to the artillery, so we can hopefully get some serious damage to him. Might even get a kill if we're lucky. Right, Zone B is ours. That T-28's coming over. They've dropped their own artillery onto us, but too little too late. Leon M2's defilated. T-28 is actually a threat, but Comrade Russian is apparently sacrificing his quota of distance to Stalin. Take another shot. Didn't sacrifice enough, however. Got it. Right, duck back into cover. Engine's taken a couple of hits. Can't really take much more of this. Leon, the M10 is up ahead. I'm actually going to do something that looks a little bit stupid at this point. I'm going to pull up over to the near side bank. Again, it's all about lines of sight. M10 can't see me from here, and anything rolling up to the berm, well, there's no way in hell they'll have the... mostly no way in hell they'll have the gun depression to shoot me before I can get a shot into them. And best bit of all, underside armour, boys and girls. Underside armour. Unfortunately, point A is being recaptured, so I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to pull up. I will be in view of this Panzer III, but he has just fired, so very carefully. Leon, fire. Deflection, damn it. Okay, fine. Back it up, get out of sight while the 75 reloads. In fact, we'll break contact completely at this stage. Pull forwards again, reposition, because that T-34 will be chasing me down. Okay, 170 meters. Again, pull up. Try and work out why I'm stalling here. There we are. Up this slightly gentler slope here. T-34 is making a blitz. Can I get a shot? Boom! Nailed the side of his turret. Hit his loader. Unfortunately, didn't accomplish anything else. He is... no, he isn't in cover. Oh, you foolish, foolish little Russian. Also, lucky, lucky bastard Russian. God damn it, that was straight into his fuel tanks. Come on, fire. Leon. Come on, come on, come on. Ammo rack. Got you. Right, crew KO, but I'll take it. Panzer IIIL wasn't the problem. I should have been more careful. That M10 got a shot into my engines. Betting we'll find, yep, that lovely little armour gap in the Panzer IV's turret. Nailed the loader. End of story. Right. Let's grab the 3F. Just show you the difference in anti-tank performance, I hope, between the 3F and the 42G. Remember, only 75mm on this one, but oh shit. Drive! Drive, 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 drive like you've never driven before. Ha! Overthought that one, Stuka, didn't you? Should have dumped from high altitude. I wouldn't have been able to get round in time. Lovely thing about time delay safety fuses, you have to drop from high altitude or they don't explode on impact. Hey ho. Anyhow, back onto topic. Difference between a 75mm high velocity and a 105 low velocity gun. The 75 will hopefully do a much better job. Of course, then the first thing I run into is a T-34, who, with that sloped armor, is actually going to be much less vulnerable. Panzer III takes a shot. I actually rushed my shot there, but never mind, lay on with heat. Gunner's unconscious. This is the problem with the Stug. An immediate knockout, because that was a crew KO. What was he firing anyway? Blunt-nosed? I mean, high-angle shot. I think that was a heat round. So you saw the difference there. High-angle Panzergranate might have deflected there. The heat round did not, and that sadly is me out of the round. Oh well, could have been worse, but not by much. Sloppy performance with the Stug, and of course, that's the other problem with case-mated tank destroyers. If you're in a bad position, you can't go sideways like you can with a turreted tank. However, 5 kills, 3 deaths, 2 assists, 5 critical hits, 22 hits. Most of them, it has to be said, are probably machine gun fire into that aircraft. I didn't think I fired that many rounds out of the main gun. But yeah, 305mm rounds to kill a Sherman. Not exactly what you expect from a high-caliber weapon, is it? Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Usual. That has been Lunchtime Tankery, and until next time, keep those flank shots coming.